So, Rachel, you're here?
Yeah,
You ready?
I'm here.
Okay. Do you want to drive slides or do you want me to drive slides?
Oh, you can drive slides.
Okay, cool beans. Awesome. All right. Well, we are a minute late, guys. I apologize. Wait, let me try that again. Thank you guys for allowing me to take care of my team and join you guys momentarily behind. Appreciate the heck out of that. I was listening to some very appetizing things like cheese and crackers and like chocolate. So kind of sad I missed out on all that. But we'll go ahead and start diving into our topic. So today, I don't know if anybody has seen, mental health is kind of the month of May's theme. So we decided, might as well go with what's awesome and have our topic today on mental health also. So bear with me. I know I work at a tech company, but I am true blue collar. So this may not be as wicked smooth as people are used to seeing. So let me go ahead and share my screen here. All right, can you guys see it?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So here we are, Lady Titans. It is the month of May, which means mental health awareness. And this time, guys, we're not just gonna call it buzzwords, we're actually gonna talk about it. This is gonna be uncomfortable for some people. We might step on some toes. There might be some tears shed. But the one thing I want to challenge everybody to do today is to be open to being vulnerable. The most growth that you can have and the biggest impact you can have is when you are open and you are vulnerable and you give people the permission to come into a part of your life that maybe you don't share often. So we'll go ahead and go to the next slide. So Miss Rachel, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, my lovely?
Absolutely. If you're looking at my little Zoom face, it says my maiden name of Stepboy. I'm still in the process of getting that legally updated to cross for my December wedding. But I was a customer for a few years before joining ServiceTitan internally, and I've struggled with different mental health issues since early childhood, and I want to share my experience with you guys today, so maybe it can help somebody else or make somebody else feel empowered to share their story.
Awesome. And I'm Vanessa Gonzales. Before I became a Titan with ServiceTitan, I am a co-owner, co-founder, and chief administrative officer at Albuquerque Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, Inc. And because I love really long titles, my title at ServiceTitan is Industry Advisor and Community Engagement Manager. Yeah, not all that fits really easy on business cards, guys. I've tried. It's like your entire titles and then like your contact information on the back. I suggest keeping them short and sweet if you can. So one thing that we're just gonna dive right into it, guys, because this is a lot to talk about and it's a lot to get into. So suicide is the second leading cause of death for people ages 10 to 14 and 25 to 34. And all of these facts I've gotten are from websites that I have done research on, and they are at the end of the slide deck. So if you want to do some more in-depth dives, you will be able to do that. In 2020, 1.2 million people attempted suicide. One person dies every 11 minutes from suicide, so by the time we're done with this, there will have been the potential of 5 people that have passed because they chose not to continue. One thing that we need to be very open and aware of is that blue collar workers suffer from the high rates of alcohol and drug abuse. And that's across all industries. It is not just plumbing, it's not just HVAC, it is all blue collar industries. Because think about how hard blue collar work is on our body. Even if you were in the office, it is still hard because you are supporting the team, you are supporting the guys in the field. And let's be honest, guys, that takes a lot out of us, right? And the other part is blue collar. We're tough, right? No, we're tough. We're gonna man up, even if we're women, right? We're still gonna man up, or as I like to say on the ranch, cowboy up, cowgirl up, rub some dirt on it, and let's move on. We do not, and I'm gonna speak for myself here, I do not like showing that I'm human. I do not like showing that I can't do something, or that because of my gender or because of where I've been, that I can't do it. And sometimes that's what we have to do, is acknowledge, you know what, as Rachel has told me many times, it's okay to not be okay. And we were chatting while we were getting ready for the presentation, and we're like, yeah, it's okay to sit in the poo, but you can't sit there and expect to become a flower. You gotta get up. You gotta replant yourself. You gotta get some good fertilizer and go forward. So we're gonna get into it. The semicolon, which I don't know if you guys can see it. The semicolon is becoming not just a grammar point or exclamation point or punctuation. That is the word I was reaching for there. It is now used for suicide awareness. When I was talking about my journey on a local television show, I was talking about why I got the tattoo. And it's because I have known 6 people in the past 3 years that have committed suicide. My shop,
Pause.
Can you hear us, Vanessa?
Rachel, do you want to just pick up a little bit?
Yeah, I just didn't want to cut her off while she's being vulnerable, so that's why I hesitated. But I can start talking a bit about my experience with mental health. I guess my journey started when I was in elementary school, and for years I suffered childhood sexual abuse. And that really affected how I grew up, how I became an adult, how I dealt or didn't deal with real life issues. I've struggled with suicidal thoughts since 6th grade. That's how young I was when I first attempted. Some of the resources we're going to be sharing include some children's books that I think can help define boundaries and emotions and proper terminology to children. So at a young age, we can have a better understanding of what is consent, what is okay, what are secrets that are okay that maybe we can call surprises, and what are the kind of secrets that shouldn't be kept from anyone. And I had another more official attempt in high school, and that was the first time I went to a psychiatric hospital for a few days. And I didn't tell very many people about that because I was ashamed. It felt like it wasn't that people were necessarily concerned for my safety, but it was like I had gotten in trouble for hiding my feelings, and it kind of made things worse. But there was a friend of mine I was close with that I had never told, and 1 year later, I unfortunately lost him to suicide. And after that, I'm like, you know what? Yep, it's awkward. It's uncomfortable to talk about, but I'm going to talk about it because it might save one person. And I was a little worried about how today would be for me because just it's actually literally 6 months to the date that I lost my now husband's aunt to suicide. And that has been very hard. I understand experiencing the thoughts and how crushing that can be, but I also understand the absence you can feel and the help you wish you could have provided while you still had the chance to. But Vanessa, I did see that you popped back up if you would like to continue where you were.
No, I appreciate you, Rachel, for sharing that with us, because I know that that was something that you and I talked about, that this was going to be a hard thing to talk about. So since you've shared, I will share mine. So a lot of you probably don't know a lot about me personally, and I do that on purpose because what I do in the community is about the community and not about me. So this is very uncomfortable for me. So I appreciate you guys all listening and giving me the space to be able to speak about this. So I am a survivor of rape twice. I have been molested. I have dealt with PTSD since the age of 16 when my brother was killed in a traffic accident. My biological brother was hit and killed while changing a flat tire. and seeing the vehicle and the scene and everything, that when you're young, it takes a lot out of you. So my first suicide attempt was when I was at the age of 16 in front of my mother. And then I've battled with postpartum with both of my daughters. Postpartum is something that we also don't talk about, but that is a mental health issue that needs to be spoken about. And we need to make women and providers realize that what's the baby blues and what isn't. And postpartum is not something to be shy about. It's not something to be ashamed about. It is something literally in your brain where you just have to rebalance the chemistry, and that is okay. And it is okay. My second bout of postpartum almost killed me. My husband and my brother watched, my husband and my dad, I apologize, probably my brother, my bio brother from heaven was probably watching, but they watched my heart stop twice. Taking 22 muscle relaxers after doing research and having pathology and anatomy knowledge, you know what to do to make sure the job is done. So that's why we're talking about this today, because it's the women that you don't think that have been through struggles, the women that seem to have it together, the women that always show up for other people, the women that take on more than they probably should, that have been through it the most. The women that are constantly trying to make people laugh and smile, they are doing that because they know what it's like to be in that dark spot. So part of me sharing this with you guys is to let you know I've been there. I know how tough it is. I know how dark and lonely it is, and how it doesn't feel like it's you, and how we can get out. So we have, I'll share the deck again, but one of the other things that we want to talk about too is not just about how mental health affects us, but what we can do as leaders. As you know, we talked to Crystal and she shared about how to lead from the seat that you're at and the desk that you're at and what that looks like. This is a part of leadership that we don't talk a lot about, right? Is how to support each other and how to help each other. And by just being there, you can help save a life. So the reason why I put the bullet point in there that someone you know has attempted suicide, because everybody on this call knows me. And not only have I done it once because I'm an overachiever, I tried it twice. Sorry guys, I know my humor and jokes probably, you guys are like, this is very odd. It is one of my coping skills and defense mechanisms is humor. I'm more comfortable being funny and making jokes than getting down to it when it's about me. When it's about somebody else, I will sit there, I'll cry with you. Rachel can attest to this. There's a few other people on this call that I have cried with, that I have been there. So trust me, I know how to keep it in line. But one thing we need to really watch as we get more females into the industry is depression is experienced at roughly 2 times the rate of men in females. And I'm talking females, however you want to say it, assigned female at birth. Your biological chemistry is going to make it to where you are roughly 2 times more predisposed than men. One other thing that we want to talk about, because again, the industry, drug and alcohol use is very prevalent. If it becomes chronic, it can lead to actual changes in your brain, which can go into other mental health issues. So that's all cool. But how do we help? What do we do? What does that look like? How do we make sure that the team is able to continue to move on? Sorry, guys. Like I said, I work at a tech company, but I'm not very techy. So as a business owner, things you can do is you can look into your benefits, make sure that there's addiction support. And when I say that, it's rehab, it's free visits, it's a nurse hotline that they can call into and get support with. They can get medications that will help get them off of alcohol. Because I don't know if many of you know that if you are an alcoholic, and when I say an alcoholic, I am not talking a social drinker, somebody that may have a glass or 2 of wine. I'm talking that somebody that if you do not wake up in the morning and drink, you start doing the shakes. And if you are that bad with alcohol and you quit cold turkey, there is a high risk that you can actually kill yourself from quitting cold turkey. My husband is very open about sharing his story, so I know he would not mind me sharing it here, but my husband is a recovering alcoholic and has been for the past 6 years. So when people are like, well, how do you know? Well, because I lived it. So usually when it comes to this kind of stuff, I will be very passionate about it, and I will be more than happy to help you if you aren't sure how to implement things or how to talk to your boss about getting resources. Let me know. I will help you. Check your employment leave laws. A lot of states are adopting sick leave policies, and they're encompassing it to if you are a victim of sexual assault, domestic violence, having issues with addiction. Those all fall under the sick leave policy. So that is something that if your state doesn't have it, maybe you can adapt it into what your business does. Because think about how amazing would it be if your leadership at your business, if you went in and talked to HR and HR said, you went through something traumatic, go ahead and take these next 2 days as sick leave and don't worry about it. We've got it paid. And to be able to take care of yourself.
Vanessa,
go ahead.
I just wanted to add a quick thought to that while it was fresh. I also, at the height of all things COVID about 2 years ago, I had spent a few days in another psychiatric hospital. And one thing was that I tried harder to convince them to let me leave sooner because I was worried about who was going to submit payroll the next Monday. That's not healthy. That's not an environment where you can grow and be your best self. That I shortened the help I was receiving because of work, and that's just not right. We should all work somewhere where if we have a personal crisis, we can attend to that so we can better ourselves personally, physically, mentally, and then when we're in a better place, return for work. I just wanted to mention that real quick, Vanessa.
No, I love that, but I'm sure that there's at least 10 people on this call that can relate to putting off something for themselves or trying to figure out how they can make sure that everybody else is taken care of before themselves. And this is me talking to myself as much as I am talking to everybody on this call and listening to this in the future or whenever. We can't pour from an empty cup. And if you're the person that is constantly emptying that cup, you have to find people that'll fill it for you. And there is so many people in our LadyTitans group that will help you fill your cup. So think about that. As a business owner, are you going to allow team members to form an AA group and meet at your office, or a Narcotics Anonymous group and meet at your office? Have conversations if you have HR. If you're HR, what do your core values say when it comes to mental health? Does everybody know that? Is everybody on the same page? Do they treat a mental health issue like a broken bone, like COVID, like cancer? Because guys, let's get honest, it affects you just as much, if not more, right? Where the mind goes, the body follows. So things to think about. Rachel, we had talked about you. Let's see if I can get it to do the next slide. Biscuits. One screen is not my friend today, people. There we go. You want to go ahead and follow up what can be done for if you're in the team member seat?
Yeah, so just as a team member, honestly, some of the closest relationships I have in my life are from working in the trades. The people I worked with knew pain, and they knew pain when they saw it. And all they had to do was look at my face and know, okay, something isn't right. We don't have to talk about whatever it is, but I want you to know that I see you, I'm here for you, and I can be a distraction, a support, whatever it is that's going to best help you in this moment. So just regularly checking in on each other and remembering that you're all human. And I remember feeling like I had to, if I had a breakdown at work, I felt like I had to hide my tears from other employees because it was unprofessional, when really I should show my humanity to others so they feel in turn that they can too, and we can help each other get stronger, get whatever help, or not feel so alone by sharing these things together. And then different support tools and materials. It's 2022. There's a bunch that's on there, app-wise, website-wise. There's also different books. Something that I have, what were they called? Affirmation cards for survivors of sexual assault. And it's just, you know, if you're in a dark place and you're going down a spiral, there's just cards to read to remind you, you know, this isn't your fault. It never was your fault. You are still worthy. Just helps get you out of that slump. I think it's good to have both physical things on hand and technological things on hand, because you never know what you might quite need and when. So the more you have set up for those dark times, the better you can navigate those dark times, because it doesn't take much effort to go grab your little self-care kit or something like that.
I love that, Rachel. One of the other things that I like to talk about is get your toolbox. Get to where you've got a toolbox. Well, we've got them for job sites, right? There's nothing wrong with having a toolbox for your mental health. And then have one for the business, for your team or for your teammates, however you want to do it. So we will make sure to share this deck. But there, and this presentation, we're almost done, but I wanted to give us time for us to be able to talk, for us to have a safe place, for us to share with each other. There is help for you, which is for treatment referrals via text message, because sometimes it's easier for whatever generation you come from to text in. That is going to be referrals for support. The MAHSA is a new branch of the government that is going just, if you guys can hear me, my internet still, it's going wonky a little bit. We've had some internet issues here in Albuquerque, but they've made it to where everybody knows 911, right? Across the country, 988 is going to be a number that you'll be able to call when you are having a crisis, a mental health crisis, anywhere from suicide prevention, which we have plenty of those numbers on here, or addiction support. And we're talking everything from alcohol to opiates to narcotics, wherever that falls in, that will be there. All these resources, like I said, we're going to share with you guys. But the one thing that I would, that Rachel, these are the books that Rachel was talking about, but one thing I would suggest is have the conversation with your kids. And when it comes to your children, you know when something is going on, you know when something has happened. Listen to your gut. Don't dismiss it. That's how we were able to get my daughter in treatment and be able to get her help. And if we hadn't, Rachel and I were talking, and I was like, I didn't get to share this with her, but I'm so glad I listened. And I'm so glad I took her serious. And I'm so glad that I believed her and was there to support her, because not every child has that experience. So be the resource. And if you know of a child that is going through it, these are conversations that you can have. Conversations that, what happens when you get sad? Well, how long are you sad? Well, what made you sad? All of these things, we need to be okay with talking to our feelings, and then also look at the example you're setting for your kiddos. Because that's one of the things that I look at, is they see mommy doing way too much all the time, constantly being there for other people, but don't see mommy doing a lot for herself. They see the impacts of what me doing so much for other people is doing to me and to my body, but they don't see mommy taking care of herself. And that's not the example I want for my girls, and not the example I want set for my team. Rachel, you want to go a little bit deeper on the books?
I feel like it's something that maybe could have helped me as a kid realize that what was happening wasn't just okay. Well, wasn't just, oh, that's just part of childhood. It wasn't a game. It was wrong, and I needed help. And I just think we need to get the awkward conversations starting from a young age. So then when people are going through puberty or whatever stage of life, it's a little less awkward. It's okay to get angry and it's okay to get sad, but we have to learn what that can look like and how we can get past that. We need to learn to not avoid feelings or bury them down and just portray perfect, happy, positive vibes. And I think starting books like this when they're little can really help build a foundation for a stronger childhood, stronger understanding of mental health, and even just being a better human being in this world.
Agreed. All right. So this, I know that of all of these slides have a lot of information on them, guys, and it's because I even left some stuff out. Like I left out treatment that I did after my second suicide attempt that I did and really helped. And I was talking to Rachel about it. There's a treatment called EMDR, where it's basically retraining your brain. And the way I describe it is it's like kind of like trauma creates piles of laundry, which I'm sure if you don't have piles of laundry, are you even like really human? Like, come on, like it's either clean or dirty. Like it's the clean laundry that just has to be folded and put away. Or if you're not, could you please share with me how you don't have piles of laundry everywhere so I can get better? What EMDR does is it helps you clean that and put it away and move on. So that way you can be the best version, you can be present, so you can stop being triggered every time a door slams, or every time you smell somebody with cigarettes on them, or whatever's the trigger for you. That way you can go through it. But these are also all different kinds of apps for positivity, for mental health, for ways to kind of help you meditate. The brainwave one actually sends different sounds, and you need to listen to it with headphones on or both in both ears. You can't just have one, because it's actually doing the same thing that EMDR does, and it helps soothe your brain. It can help focus your brain. It's really, really cool. There's like 5 different versions of that app. Calm, Headspace, Fabulous, Daily Habit Tracker. That one does, there's affirmations ones. There's even a self-care fidgeter, like a digital fidget like spinner, which I was, well, that's kind of cool. Everything AA. And then I think we've got 2 more slides. But this is where I got a lot of my facts from. And these are also national organizations, because when I was looking for resources, I wanted to make sure that no matter where you were at, the only thing I didn't get to really dive into is support for our Canadian friends north of us. But I would, if somebody needs that, I will deep dive and I will get you a plethora of resources, because that's the one thing I want. I want everybody to feel like they've got 2 toolboxes, or as Ashley said on our dish, our lounge one was a tool purse. Like, however you want to put them in, I don't care. Just I want you to have something that you can go to and just start pulling things out and using. So last slide is us. Make sure you guys share LadyTitans, so that way we can continue to grow. We can continue to network and connect with everything. Sorry, I just stopped screen sharing, and so I'm seeing all the chat, and I'm like seeing that people have done EMDR is life-saving and life-changing. I completely agree. Love some Canadian resources. You got it, Ashley. I will make that happen. So I want to open up this time for anybody that wants to share, anybody that has questions. You can ask me anything. I will go as deep as you guys want to go. And I know Rachel's pretty open too, so.
Hey, Vanessa, can I just jump in real quick for a second? This is actually my first meeting, but I wanted to let everyone know that while I am not licensed, I have a degree in mental health counseling. I have my master's degree, and I did work with substance abuse recovery, people in recovery for about 2 years. So while I can't give actual like therapeutic advice, I can certainly help with information if anyone has questions.
Love that. Thank you for sharing with that. I really appreciate that, Carrie. See, guys, look, Look at what Lady Titans is bringing, like all kinds of cool stuff. And JJ, I saw you unmute.
Yeah, I just wanted to say thank you to both you, Vanessa and Rachel. This is amazing, and I'm so honored to be a part of this group because a lot of stuff that you said hits home. You know, some personally, some family, some friends, some whatever. And I'm going to try and keep my cup full, not let my cup get empty.
Let us
So,
pour into you guys. So
yeah, thank you.
there's not a problem, JJ, not a problem.
And I just love to share with the group some great advice that I had, many years ago. One of my other positions that I had is really watch that cup. Make sure you don't let it get too empty. And one of the ways that you can proactively do that is schedule you time. Just schedule a mental health day once a month, every month, just a random day, put it on the calendar that you're off on PTO, whatever it may be, just block out a day. And when it gets to that day, if you don't need it and you feel great and you don't necessarily want to take it, you don't have to take it. You can cancel it. Or if that's what's really keeping you motivated and going throughout the month, that, oh my gosh, I know that I just a couple more days or a couple more weeks and I have my day that I can spend me time, do it. And I encourage you to not cancel them as much as possible, because even if you feel great, still supercharge that cup, fill it up, go get a pedicure, go have lunch with a friend, do something to get out and get away from just your mundane everything you do at home, everything you do at work, everything you do for everybody else. Do something for you. I can't say it enough because it makes a huge difference, and it'll make it so that you look forward to work again versus always just being, oh gosh, I have to do the same thing over and over again. I'm never going to get a break.
Appreciate you sharing that, Danielle. And as we see the comments coming in, there's one, I'm not going to name names, but I do have somebody that is making sure that I'm holding myself accountable. And what does that look like? Danielle was just talking about making sure that we're pouring from a full cup, not pouring from an empty cup. Hold yourself accountable. Get yourself accountability buddies. That's just kind of fun to say. But somebody that is going to hold your feet to the coals, and making eye contact with mine right now on Zoom. But they call you out, but in the best way possible. It's with love, and it's because they care. It's because they love you, and they see something that is happening before you see it. And those are the people that are like, oh yeah, you said you're okay. Gonna throw that BS flag and say, you're not. So if this is hitting home, if this is causing you to have tears or emotions, let it. Don't force it down. Love the BS flag. Yeah, I think they need to be really big and brown.
Penalty flag in football, just throw it. I do think that that's a case we're always willing to help others, but we're not holding ourselves accountable. So you got to practice what you preach, right? So my cup may be full and broken and I'm just holding on to it. And am I really in the best spot to offer advice and help others? But it becomes a pride issue, right? We're too proud to ask for help. It's easier to help others than for us to say, like, I need some time, set boundaries. So don't let pride kill you, because it happens to the best of us. We are too prideful to ask for help, too prideful to set boundaries. And I mean, it's ugly and it's messy, but realistically, we have to do that for ourselves mentally to stay in a good headspace. And it's never easy, but we're always so worried about what other people think, right? I have to prove myself. I constantly have to show up. And the conversations I've had is, who are these people you're showing up for? Do they know you, right? Do they sit at your table always? Are they in your family circle? Are they in your friend circle? And if the answer is no, then you're killing yourself for people that don't matter. Because the people that matter are going to show up and they know what you bring to the table always. You don't need to prove yourself.
Ashley, I think to compound on that point that you just made there a little bit about showing up and knowing, when it matters who you're talking to. I think that we all get kind of conditioned for these cookie cutter responses, right? How's your day? Oh, my day is great. Thanks. And when you can clearly see that someone is not having a good day and they're giving you the socially acceptable, yeah, my day's great, practicing intentional empathy with the people that you care about, the people that you're talking to. If you're picking up that they're having a bad day, and like you had said, Vanessa, the accountability buddy, really diving in intentionally and saying, hey, you know what, I know you said that you're great. And if you really are, and I'm picking up on something and it's false, that's my bad. But you don't look great to me. Can we take a 5-minute? Let's talk about this because I want to be here for you because I care. Sometimes all that you have to do is tell another human being, hey, I am also a human being and I care about your well-being. Let's talk. And I mean, I've approached employees and friends and I've said almost verbatim those words, and they just break down crying because they're not okay. They're not doing good. And all they need to see is somebody out there that cares enough to ask. And we think, oh, that's so simple. Well, if it's so simple, why aren't we out there being champions for our fellow friends, our coworkers, and actually doing it? Also, Vanessa, Rachel, you can't see me because I've got my camera off, but like I'm over here giving you guys the biggest cheerleader right now because what you did today was brave, and I have just the utmost respect for you both. You are loved. Thank you.
Yeah, you both know you're very much loved, and all of you are loved. And we all go through dark days and bright days, and you know, I speak publicly about my dark days because I know that others are going through dark days, and I know that they're not speaking. And you know, being at a high leadership level at work, being a single mom, going through divorce, like happens. And I find these people, like all of these women in the trades, they just surround me and they love me. And even in my darkest days, and they have been dark, I run to them because I can't find the light myself. And so I encourage you all to find someone to run to because, you know, I run to Vanessa often, and she knows that. Like my world is chaos sometimes, and her world is chaos, and we can talk about the chaos together. And I will call her on her shit, and she will call me on mine. And I have other accountability partners as well, but I don't have accountability partners like the women in the trades that I have, because I can reach out at any moment, at any time, and say, I'm dark and I need help. And they're always there to help me. So know that you do have friends here at LadyTitans, and we're all here to support you however we can. And Vanessa and Rachel, thank you so much for showing up brave and courageous and vulnerable today. I really appreciate that. And everyone else, thank you for listening with your heart. Just. Putting myself on mute so I can get there.
Everybody's so quiet. I'm looking at faces and names.
Vanessa?
Yes.
What are common indicators and warning signs that we need to be watching out for in our friends and our family and in our employees? What can we spot so that we know the red flag has been called?
So you're gonna look. So I'm really glad you asked that, Kate. You're gonna look for subtle things first. They will maybe stop showing up. And when I say stop showing up, I'm not talking about like they just don't, they're not no call, no showing. It's going to be little ways. It's going to be subtle. They may not be as active as they once were in a meeting. They may start not showing up to work or in life like they used to. It might even be what some people may think is an innocuous post on social media and really isn't. It's subtle things. It's little, oh yeah, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm totally fine. Don't even worry. And they're avoiding eye contact. Men, it is a much harder to see. The team members that I lost to suicide. One of them, we had no indications. We had nothing. He was here one day and literally was gone hours later. The other team member, for men, it takes a lot. And men's suicide rates is much higher, but they also will put on a mask, sometimes thicker and harder than a lot of their female counterparts, because they don't want to seem weak. So usually the way you'll get a man to be able to divulge that he's not okay is going to be one-on-one. I'm not saying you need to go somewhere private. It can be off to the side at the office, like, hey, you doing okay? I noticed that I like to say there's a disturbance in the force, or you feel like diet Rachel. You look like regular Rachel, but less filling, not as many calories, like there's something missing. It just doesn't hit the same, which humor allows people to laugh and it lets their guard down a little bit, right? I was an intern at a mental health care facility. And so these are all things I learned there also. And we're talking kids that I got trained with. So if I can help the kiddos, helping the men and the women and the adults is a little bit more challenging, but it's pretty much cake, right? I see Carrie nodding her head. She's like, yeah, but you can deal with the kids. You can pretty much deal with anything else. But listen, check in on the team. If they know that you're constantly checking in on them and they know that you're a safe place, it doesn't matter if you're an owner or if you're a CSR or if you're just a customer and you notice your favorite technician comes and there's just something off. Say something, call somebody, ask them. Sometimes just asking is what somebody needs to let it all out. It's when they don't ask, when people think you're okay, that you start to feel alone and you start to feel isolated. And then you just start kind of turtling more and more and more and more. So, but the guys are tough ones. So very tough.
And one thing that I'll add into that for you, Vanessa, is that at my old shop, what we did is all of our managers, you had your team, and we all kind of held each other accountable for reaching out to all of our team members every single day and having a conversation that is nothing to do with work. It had to be reach out, ask them how their cat is, whatever. Did they get to do something fun over the weekend? Just asking those just simple, like, it doesn't have to be a full-on, huge conversation, just checking in and trying to get them to talk. And then you see those you can have a pattern with that person. And so you can really tell when they do start closing up a little bit, or they might not have the same tone that they had, the last week. You can tell that there's something different. And then that's where it's an open space where you've already created that openness with those people that you can be like, hey, you're not really sounding yourself. Like you said, you're Vanessa Light today. Like, I'm not getting that same vibe. Open up, let's talk about it. What can I do to help you? And make sure that you do the same for yourself. Be open when people ask you, don't just close up and try to hold it all in. We all try to do everything every day, be superwoman, and we are beyond superwoman. I mean, we're pushing ourselves way beyond that, and just let yourself have those friends and those colleagues that you do let check in on you and have those conversations, because not only is it going to help you, it's going to help them, and it helps each other check and keep each other in check. We've all gone through some crazy things. I've had PTSD for over 10 years of having a break-in in my home. We were literally in bed and somebody breaking into our bedroom with a chair through the window biting my head. We've all gone through stuff at work that puts us over the edge, that we can't take it anymore. Talk through it, be there. That's the biggest thing. If you need help, every one of us is here on, LadyTitans, on Facebook. We have our emails and phone numbers. Please, you're never alone. Reach out and share with one of us, because it means the world to me. If you need help, I don't care if it's midnight, 2 a.m., whatever coast I'm on, please feel free to reach out, and I'd love to chat and make sure that we can help each other through anything.
I'm loving all the stuff coming in chat that we need to normalize men having emotions. I completely agree. I can't tell you how many guys have come into the office and I shut the door, and my office is usually the one that people come in and cry in. I don't know why, but they do. The door shuts and it's like, everything comes out. So make sure that you have that place for your team members, for everybody on the team. And if you're a CSR and it's your desk, ask HR if there's an area where you can go and have those conversations, because it's very important. Empowering. Awesome. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat and stay engaged and read the chat and stay engaged.
There was one, you don't owe anybody an explanation. And I feel like anytime, I think Carrie said something to Brandy, no is an answer. No, it doesn't have to be no, I'm busy, or no, I have this event. It can just be an easy no. You don't have to follow up with like an excuse. Right now, if I say no, like, oh gosh, why am I saying no? Why don't I want to go hang out with Vanessa on Saturday? What's the reason, right? You can just say no. No, thank you.
And okay, so let's throw out a challenge. Totally impromptu. I would like to see in our LadyTitans Facebook group, everybody there's 47 of us right now. One thing that we said no, not anything else, like no, period, no exclamation point, no question mark, no like, no soft, no like, no, done. By next Thursday, or next Tuesday. Today's Tuesday, right? Yeah, today's Tuesday. Sorry guys, it's been an emotional couple of weeks prepping for this, so there's been a lot going on. But I'd love to see 47 times that we have all said no, and then think about the conversations that will start, because we've just empowered each other. But never say no to tacos. Well, what if you're allergic to gluten? Or what if you're vegan, or like one of those pescatarian people, or things? Oh, corn shells. Okay. Thank you, Lauren. This is why I have smarter people around me that know these things. Love it. Problem solvers. Okay. So yeah, so don't say no to tacos, because they do bring a lot of joy to everybody. But 47 no's, and you can't steal somebody else's no. You can't be like, I said no, and it was to the kids having ice cream for dinner. Well, that's an easy no. Come on, guys. Right? I said no, that I'm going to have ice cream for dinner. Okay, now that's self-care. I believe that's self-care. So, have you seen my kid? I've seen very cute pictures of your kiddo, Margie. Your kiddo's awesome. We have to say yes to help. And how many times is that yes harder than saying no? Yeah, I see everybody on everybody's all avoiding eye contact. Well, I can still see you on Zoom, guys. I see you doing this. Well, I see you. And even the people that don't have their cameras on, I see you avoiding the camera still. So I will make a promise to you guys. I will have my no by tomorrow evening. And I will be promising that I will say yes to help. That will be my commitment to you guys. So if I can commit that to you, I hope you can at least commit at least one of those. Either saying no by next Wednesday or next Tuesday, and saying yes to help. Very true, Carrie. Very true. All right, I don't know about you guys. Is there anybody that has anything else they would like to add? Any tips? Love this assignment. I needed it. Of course, Lauren. No, posted already. Dang, Jessica's like, look at Jessica. She's like, I'm on it. She's like, give me another assignment.
It helps that I'm leaving my job next week, right? I've been telling people no left and right.
And you said yes to yourself.
Yeah.
I love that.
I just wanted to.
Worried about being a burden. How many of y'all are worried about being a burden for asking for help? Or not? You're not a burden. They want to help you. I promise.
And if it's a backhanded, do you need help? You'll know. Those aren't your people.
Okay, they're not.
I have to tell that to Vanessa all the time.
I just wanted to throw out there that a lot of the time when we have these conversations about mental health wellness, it usually surfaces when somebody is already in dire need. And it is so important to remember that your mental health wellness is an all the time thing. It's not optional. It's not a maybe I'll do it tomorrow or next week or when I fall to pieces and have a nervous breakdown and go to the hospital because I'm nauseous for 2 weeks straight. Personal experience, guys. So just remember that your mental health wellness needs to be an everyday thing, and it can be small. It can be your 5-minute uninterrupted cup of coffee. It can be, I'm going to play with my cats every day before work, whatever it is. Make it your daily priority.
Yeah, make you your daily priority, right? Make you your daily choice. I know it's hard to make yourself a choice and you're like, man, this is selfish and narcissistic and what it's like everything you want to define yourself is just totally wrong. It's you. You are a choice and you get to make that every single day. And so yeah, totally encourage you to choose yourself.
Oh, Jackie, my heart goes out to you. And also, guys, one thing I want to throw out that I've done for other kids. If you know a child that their parent has taken their life and they are really struggling with why that happened, I'm more than willing to sit down with that child and explain to them, having been there as a parent, that it is literally not anything they did or anything that they could have done. And honestly, that parent thought they were doing what was the best for them. Because as I sat there looking at the muscle relaxers and my husband's gun, I genuinely thought my daughters were going to be better without me. So I know that I made that commitment to a few other people on this call that have had some kids lose their parents. It's hard on the kids. That's one thing that when you're in that dark place, your brain's not thinking like it normally does. So Carrie dropped her contact info in the chat. We'll make sure to add that to the slide deck and our wrap-up email. But guys, your challenge is no. As a complete sentence, post it in our Facebook group, how you said no. It is, you don't, it could just be no at work, no to family outing, whatever. You don't have to get super detailed. If you do, cool. If not, cool. But I hope to see 47 no's by next Tuesday. So,
all right, well, thank you all for joining us, and we will give you some time back
yeah.
to kind of digest and take this all in and sit with it and give it grace. Thank you guys again. Really appreciate your time.
Thank
Love
you.
and light. We'll email
Bye,
this out.
everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.